Okay, today we'll see how to work with object-oriented programming. In object-oriented programming, we deals with classes. Okay, so how it is different from what are all the programming model we worked till now? So till now we used procedural-oriented programming. What is procedural-oriented programming? It is
FM function
for the
modelers.
function modules. Okay, so procedural-oriented programming mainly deals with the functions. Okay, so what are the properties of function? All the function modules are going to share the common global data. So what is function group? Function group. What is function group? What is function group?
Collection of relevant function modules.
Collection of relevant function modules. So all these function modules are going to access same global data of that function group, right? So in object-oriented programming, we use class. We use classes. Okay, so I'll give you from basic details. Once we are starting working on it, I'll introduce the basics of like object-oriented programming. Like we have encapsulation, polymorphism, okay, inheritance. These are the main concepts we are going to use in object-oriented ABAP. Okay. First, we'll see how to create a basic class. So we have two types of classes.
Classic Korean.
What is it? What is that class? First, what is a class contains? Mainly methods, attributes means constants, or type structures. What else we have in class? So first we'll see these two. We have other things called exceptions, interfaces, events. Okay, but first we'll concentrate on methods and attributes, because if you are able to understand these two, then remaining would be easy. Okay, so since we have procedural oriented programming, why SAP introduced object oriented programming? What is the advantages of object oriented programming? The first advantage is it reduces the code redundancy. Code redundancy means duplicate code. How can you avoid the duplicate code? How can you avoid writing the same code again in different programs? By modularizing the code.
Techniques.
Once you modularize the code, you can use the same modularization unit in different programs. So by using classes, you can modularize the code. Till now, we have seen how to modularize the code using function modules. okay, and include programs. Now we see how to modularize the code using classes. Okay. So what are the main features of object-oriented programming? It is not specific to ABAP, but it is common to any programming language. That is inheritance, data abstraction, encapsulation, and polymorphism. So do you guys know what is inheritance?
Don't know.
Okay. Okay. I'll introduce this later. I don't want to confuse now. Okay. So by using object-oriented programming, we have better reusability of the code and better security for the data. So you can hide all the unnecessary data to the outside classes. So first, let's create one class. So we have two types of classes. One is local class. What is the transaction code for global class?
C24.
SC24. Local classes, we are going to write it in the program itself. Okay. So there is no specific transaction code. We are going to write local classes in the program itself. But what is the difference? Local classes can be used only within the program. You can reuse or call again within the same program. It is like subroutines in procedural programming. Okay. But global classes, once you create a global class, you can call this global class in any program or any function module or any class method. So let's create one class. So what is the transaction code? First, let's focus on global class. Okay. So what is the transaction code?
C24.
SC24. Object type. Object type means class name. Create a class name. Or if you have any existing class, for example, uh, there is a class called GCL test. So this is class. When you display, these are all the methods of that class. These are the methods of that class. Select one method, main process, and click on parameters. Click on parameters. What can you see here? Importing parameter. So what are the different types of parameters available in class methods? Importing,
Importing,
exporting,
exporting, changing.
changing, and returning. So I'm sure you guys have already understand what is importing, exporting, and changing. Do you guys understand or not?
Understands.
What is changing?
Like one exporting parameter, we can say. Or
What is exporting then?
Exporting that value, importing, exporting, returning that value.
So in
the
method
value.
parameters, importing parameter is used to pass the input to the method, just like function module. So to pass input data to the function module or class method. So that is importing parameter. By using importing parameter, we can pass the input to the method. What is exporting? Exporting is used to return the data, right? Exporting parameter is used to return the output, right? What is
Yes.
changing? In changing parameter, we can pass the data to the class method and return the updated data. So we can pass the input and we can return the output using changing parameter. Okay. Clear?
Perfect.
So returning also very similar, like it is also used to return the value. Like for example, if you want to return a sub-RC value, okay, if you want to return uh, function module exception kind of things, you can use return. I'll give you an example when we are working on a class method. First, we'll focus on these three: importing, exporting, and changing. Okay. So let's create one class. So yesterday we have created a program, right? For for OpenSQL statements, we have created a program, right? What did we do here? We have created a program to perform these four operations. Now what will we do? We'll use a class and the methods to perform these operations and use those class methods inside the program. Okay. Create class, provide the class definition, that is class description. Observe this checkbox final. It is by default selected. What is this final checkbox means? If you select this final checkbox, it is not available for inheritance. Inheritance means using, reusing the features of the one class by another class. Okay, so that is inheritance, reusing features of, we call it as superclass and subclass. So once you select the final, you cannot reuse the features of this class in another subclass. Okay, please remember that. If you want to make it available for inheritance, like what is inheritance? Using features of one class in another class, reusing. Okay, so if you select final checkbox, it is not available for inheritance. If you remove this checkbox, it is available for inheritance. For now, keep it final, local. So what are the different options here? You have properties. What can you find in properties? Who created the class and when it is created and what is the package it is saved. Okay.
Language.
Mm. So interfaces, we'll discuss interfaces after completing these class methods. Friends, attributes. For now, just focus on attributes and methods. Only attributes and methods. Just focus on these two. Okay. So go to methods. Go to methods. Create a method. How many operations we have? 4, right? We'll create one method for each operation. Are you able to follow? Are you able to understand till now?
So
Method name is, let's go data. Okay. So you don't need to use Z. Method name need not to be start with Z. Okay, you can just use like this, insert data. So here we have two types of methods: instance method and static method. What is the difference between instance method and static methods? For instance methods, we have to create an object and call the method. For static methods, you don't need to create a object. You can just call using class reference. I'll show you that. But how these two are different? So instance methods, right? When you create a object, so okay, each object has its own memory. But static method, it doesn't have different memory for object. Okay, it's going to share the same memory. But when you go for instance method, so each objects have its own memory. Okay, so I'm selecting instance method. So here we call these as access specifiers. In visibility, we have public, protected, and private. So these we call as access specifiers. So it restricts the visibility of these methods to the outside classes. Okay. So what is public? Public means this method is available for visibility for all the outside classes. What is protected? Only inherited methods can access the methods of this class. Private means this method can be accessible for only within this class. Any other classes cannot access this method. Let's select public. So just remember the options. So we'll discuss each option in detail. So go to parameters, select the method and go to parameters. So parameters are optional. If you don't need any inputs or outputs for your method, you don't need parameters. Okay. Go to parameters and define the parameters. Follow some naming convention. So what are the inputs for this method? What are the inputs for this method to create the table?
Student ID.
Not only student ID, what are all the data you are passing here? What is the data that you are passing here? The complete work area. What is the input for insert statement here? The complete work area, right? So that is the input for us. IM means importing underscore. I'll use some data. What is type? Importing,
What?
because it is input, right? What is association type? If it is a single
Yeah.
value, single variable, use data element. So it is a table, complete record, right? We are passing, use table reference. Okay. So what is output? What is output? Whether it is created successfully or not. That is the output. Sub-RC will return sub-RC value. Okay. Will return sub-RC value as output. EX underscore,
Bars.
or we can also use success, failure, any message. Okay. So this is exporting.
SYST sub RC.
I'm using same type. Okay. So we'll return 0 if it is successful. We'll return other value if it is not successful. Now go back to methods. So our input is this work area. Okay. And output is sub RC value. Go to methods, double click on it. So observe the signature here. So this is importing parameter and this is exporting parameter, right? You can hide the signature by using signature button. Okay. Now if im underscore data is not initial, then insert from from what we need to use. Where we have data, input
Carry.
data in this importing
Carry.
parameter. In this importing parameter. This is a work area like structure. Okay, because we have taken the table reference, right? And if sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, then what we need to write? What we need to write?
Message.
Message.
Forget about message. What is the important statement we need to write after insert or update or modify statements?
Sure.
What is it? What is the statement?
Network.
Commit work. Uh, We discussed it yesterday only.
Yes. Rollback.
Okay. So if it is subars is successful, use commit work, else rollback work. Then what we need to do? So by using input data, we have inserted a record. Then what is the other thing we need to do? Return the output. What is the output here for this method?
AX sub RC.
Ex sub rc is the output parameter here, exporting parameter here. Pass the value to ex output ex sub rc
X sub RC equal to
equal
SY
to
sub RC.
sy hyphen
Sub
whatever the
RC.
value in sub rc. Okay, so we are returning the output. Okay, save. Okay, activate the method. So when first time you've created a class method, right? Observe
Yes.
all the objects created for this class method. So select all of them. G OpenSQL. These are also relevant for the same class. Select all the methods. Sorry, all the objects and activate. Okay. It is very important to activate all the objects. Okay. Go back. Now observe here. Go to parameters. Is it a mandatory parameter or optional parameter?
Mandatory.
It is
Repeat.
mandatory parameter because we did not select the optional checkbox.
Mandate.
If you select the optional, it will be a optional parameter. Okay. Go to methods. So our class method is ready. Now let's go to the program. So remove the statement. So what is the type of method we have created?
Instantaneous.
Huh?
Instantaneous method.
Instance method. For instance method, we have to create an object.
Object.
So for objects, you can take any naming convention. I'll take
Local objects.
LO, GO or anything. For example, 0 under 0 underscore data. This is how we create the object. This is new ABAP syntax. Okay. So there is some old syntax available, but we'll see new ABAP syntax only and use. Okay. This is how we create the object. This is the object 0 underscore data. Okay. You can also create it using some navigations. I'll show you that. So our object is ready. We have created the object. Now go to pattern. How to call the method? This is how we call the method. Select ABAP object pattern. ABAP objects pattern. Continue. Here we have different options, right? First one is to call the method. Second one is to create the object. Okay. Second one is to create the object. How to create the object? Provide the
GO.
object name, for example, LO underscore OBJ, and provide the class name. Created the object, right? So it created the object. Otherwise, we can write the same statement. But when you are using this syntax, right, you don't need to use anything. Just call the method. ABAP object pattern. Go to class methods. What is the instance name we have created?
HCL.
What is the instance name here? 0
GO
underscore data.
data.
Instance name is nothing but object name. Please remember. What is the class name?
HCL Open SQL.
This is the
SQL.
class name. And select your method. Use F4. Since there is only one method displayed by default. Okay. So what is IM underscore data?
Arcadia.
It is importing parameter of the method. It is importing parameter of the method. Now what we need to pass to this method? For that, go to the class,
Table.
check the parameters. What is the type of this importing parameter? That is ZDemo OpenSQL, right? That is the type, right? So whenever you are passing the input in the program, you should pass the same type object. Whatever the type of this importing parameter, you should pass the same type object. Okay. What is the type of this work area? Same, right? ZDemo OpenSQL table, right? Here also we are using ZDemo OpenSQL table reference for this importing parameter. This work area also referring to the same table. So pass this work area, enable this importing. What is the output for us here? Sub-RC value, right? We'll use some variable. In function modules, we cannot do like this, like inline declarations. But in class methods, you can do this. gv underscore sub-RC. Now, how to write the code? This dot is important at the end. If what is our return value? What is our output value here? gv sub-RC. By using gv sub-RC, we can get to know that whether that
Is it
insert statement
successful?
is successfully completed or failed. gv underscore it is 0.
That created success. Else,
Else means other than 0.
not created.
And if activate it. Now, is it clear till now? Is it clear till now?
Yeah.
Now, this class method can be reused in any number of programs. If you have similar functionality, like if you need to insert data into this table in a different program, what you need to do? Just call this class method. Don't worry about the logic. You don't need to worry about the logic. Since it's a simple method, we don't have any validations. But in general, we are going to follow a lot of validations before inserting data into the table to make sure that whether it is a valid data or not. Once you keep all the validations inside this class method, next time when you need to use the same functionality in a different program, you don't need to worry about the validations because that validations are already there in the class method. You don't need to worry about it. Just call the method. Okay. By using these class methods, right, you can set some standards. So you can build some logic as a class method and provide to your team so that everyone will use the same class method so that there is so that you can avoid duplicate coding, and also you can set some standard code, okay, so that everyone can follow that same standard procedures and standard codes. Okay. Now, so activate the program. Let's keep a breakpoint here. Execute. So select insert and create new record 500. Execute. Oh, where are we? So Object already created, 0 underscore data, instance created. Now the 0 underscore data has its own memory. So you can create any number of objects for a class. Okay, in a different program, you can create different object and call your method. So what is our importing? Work area data. So whatever the data we are passing to the table, we have populated it to work area and passing it to the importing parameter. Click on F5. If you click F6, it will complete the execution and provide the output. It won't go inside the class method. If you click on F5, then it will go inside the class method, the debugger. F5. What is this IM data? Contains same data like work area, right? Because both are referring to the same table, right? Both are with the same type structure, right? Both are same type with same fields in the same order. F5. So inserted successfully. Commit work executed. Sub-RC. Whatever the sub-RC value, that is populated to the exporting parameter. F5. Now it return back to the program. What is GV sub-RC? GV sub-RC is 0. Oh, sorry. I'm using message type as E, but it is created successfully. Use yes. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear? It is the same process. If you need to use same method in a different program, it is the same process. Create an instance for the class method and call the class method using pattern, ABAP object pattern. Provide the instance as object name, whatever the object you are using here, class name, and select your method. And provide importing parameters and exporting parameter here. Right? Don't confuse. Whatever the importing parameters you defined in the class method, those are displayed here as exporting. Okay, exporting all the exporting parameters and methods here, it is displaying as importing. Don't confuse. Okay, is it clear?